Foundation Specialist. Come today.
APCO ranks the busiest remodeler by Business First. Why? We simply give you our best price with absolutely no pressure. APCO Siding, APCO Windows, APCO Decks.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Hey, buddy, you look a little down. You okay?
I don't know how I lost it all.
Bartender, 2 strawberry milkshakes.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, make it a double for my friend here.
I was the fastest thing around.
Fastest?
Need cat food from the store? Zoom, zoom, no browsing. Want me to make you a sandwich? Wow, zing, you got a sandwich.
But you're not the fastest thing anymore?
Not since I found out about Apex Pros.
Oh, the pros, who knows?
If you got a busted AC, those guys get to you right away.
I've heard that about Apex. They're Johnny on the spot.
That's my name.
Sorry. Hey, how about those milkshakes?
I've never heard of this. You call Apex Pros and boom, they're at the house. Used to be you'd call a repair guy and maybe they'd show up when it's convenient for them, but not Apex. Just call and whoosh.
Yeah, you can even schedule online and it's faster than I'm sorry. Hey, milkshakes, come on.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Your station for news, traffic, and weather in Central Ohio. News Radio 610 WTVN, Columbus. WODC HD2 Asheville, an iHeartRadio station.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched a massive drone attack on the city of Druzhkiva this morning. And these were drones hitting a market. The regional governor says at least 5 people were injured, buildings and cars damaged. Ukraine also saying it attacked Russia with drones overnight. In Tel Aviv, President Trump's special Mideast diplomat Steve Witkoff has been meeting with hostage families calling for an end to the war in Gaza and their loved ones' return. Witkoff saying, quote, "We are very close to ending this war," according to a statement from hostage families. ABC's Ian Paddle in Tel Aviv says Witkoff also visited an aid site in Gaza.
UN convoys have been repeatedly looted, and this new aid system that's backed by Israel and the US has been mired in controversy. Again, we keep reporting on the people killed trying to get food, according to hospital and medical officials. Despite all the meetings, for now, the reality is that there's more hope than action, with no end in sight to the war, the starvation,
the
or the ordeal of the hostages.
No arrest yet this morning in the shooting yesterday at a bar in Anaconda, Montana.
Remember the ones unfired that we were selling for like $550? Well, with 10% off, it puts it to $500, and then there's no sales tax on that. So
law enforcement has
that makes it. I mean, that makes it screaming.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that. And then the Bodyguard 380, the Smith Wesson that we all love, just came out with the Performance Center one. It's up there. It has a compensator barrel to it. Kind of cool. Just a little bit longer. And then that HK I was going to mention briefly is the CCP or something that everyone's been raving about.
Hundreds of thousands of young Catholics poured into a vast field on Rome's outskirts today. The weekend highlight of the Vatican's 2025 Holy Year, an evening vigil, outdoor slumber party, and morning mass celebrated by Pope Leo. You're listening to ABC News.
Pope Leo.
The Lake County Sheriff's Office is putting out a message to private citizens trying to expose those soliciting children for sexual activity.
The message is, stop what you're doing. Lake County deputies have been getting reports of people acting as vigilantes, pretending to be children on social media, setting up a meetup, and then personally confronting these so-called suspects.
That sounds like a Franklin County thing.
The Lake County Sheriff's Office says they can't arrest the suspects because the law requires a person posing as somebody underage, in this case, to be a law enforcement officer. In fact, most police agencies discourage private citizens from being vigilantes and doing their own law enforcement. The deputies say, let the trained people with badges do the work. I'm Tom Moore.
Dayton High School students need to find their own way to school this year.
As we start a new month and just 11 days to go until school starts for this district, Dayton Public Schools announces they're not providing busing for their high school students. A news release stated students in grades 9 through 12 must find their own way to school. Superintendent Dr. David Lawrence called it a long-term challenge for the community of Dayton. The late change didn't allow the district to buy enough yellow buses for the fleet, nor explore limited stop service with the Miami Valley RTA. The last 3 years, DPS bought bus passes for downtown transfers, but the state budget made that illegal. I'm Lee Mowen.
Columbus is getting a professional football team next year.
The Columbus Crew in the United Football League confirming Thursday that a UFL team will be relocating to Columbus for the 2026 season. The team that hasn't been named yet will play at historic Crew Stadium. It'll be the first pro football team to play in Columbus since the Destroyers last played in the Arena Football League back in 2008 and briefly in 2019.
So she's not going to run for governor now.
And I'm Andy Betts.
Save up all of her
latest news, traffic, and weather.
If you're not informed, then you're out of the loop.
All you have to do is ask.
Play 610 WTVN on iHeartRadio.
Brought to you by Day and Night Heating and Cooling Products and Dill Mechanical.
The Girlfriends is back with a new season, and this time I'm telling you the story of Kelly Harnett. Kelly spent over a decade in prison for a murder she says she didn't commit. As she fought for her freedom, she taught herself the law.
He goes, oh God, Harnett, jailhouse lawyer.
And became a beacon of hope for the women locked up alongside her.
I think I was put here to save souls by getting people out of prison.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search The Girlfriends Jailhouse Lawyer, and listen now.
At Babs R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement, and that starts with a team who brings your vision to life. Our installers aren't just skilled, they're experts.
This is who we are. This is what we do all day, every day.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to babsrus.com 380-225-2284. Babs R Us, where dreams soak in.
See an accident? Let us know at the Kurgis & Associates Traffic Tip Line at 821-1111. Kurgis & Associates, trust and experience of attorneys who care.
Something just ain't right. I don't know who to blame, although I have a few ideas, but the way our judicial system is functioning in Central Ohio and specifically Franklin County is just wrong. It does not pass the sniff test because honestly, it stinks. As you probably heard now, former CPD officer Adam Coy, decorated veteran and community servant, was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison for a wrongful conviction of murder out of an incident several years ago. Did Adam take the life of a man who did not deserve to die that night? Of course. But there was much, much more to the story that led to the outcome that evening in Columbus. Adam did not set out to take a life that day. He was on routine patrol like any other day, protecting citizens, watching over the public, keeping our streets safe while we slept. Adam was not in the commission of a crime when this occurred. He was not robbing a bank while someone lost their life. He was a sworn Columbus police officer, answering a call to service, and due to unfortunate circumstances and a split-second decision where Adam thought his life was in jeopardy, another man lost his life. Tragic for all sides, but not new to the law enforcement profession and the courts. The Supreme Court case of Graham v. Connor addressed such a scenario in 1989, and it still stands as a basis for all law enforcement actions. Due to the ever-evolving split-second decisions officers are faced to make every day, we cannot judge an officer's actions by any means other than what another officer, faced with the same set of facts, would have reasonably done if encountering the same situation. It does not mean the officer is not responsible for his or her actions, but it explicitly states that a jury can only judge the situation as reasonable based upon the criteria outlined in this Supreme Court decision. A jury, though, has to be told of this principle for it to be applied. The fact that Adam Coy was convicted of murder in Franklin County is still appalling and not right. I'm sure an appeal will be forthcoming. But as you may remember, our liberal prosecutors and judges in this county have run on platforms that they're going to punish officers who, I quote, succumb to the temptation to shoot people, even when in fear for their life and the life and safety of others. They've run on platforms wanting to fundamentally change how the judicial system is applied in Franklin County. This is their words, their platform that they ran on. Heck of a platform to run on. But now we have to face those consequences. Dateline, July 28th, 2025. Keontae Lee sentencing. Keontae Lee is like so many cases we talk about here in the studio. He's a thug, a dredge on society, a menace to the community, and a coward. But lucky for this criminal, he chooses Franklin County for his reign of terror. Old Keontae first got caught in January of 2015 when he was charged with an F2 felonious assault. I admittedly do not know the case file on this one, but he walked out of the courtroom with the plea of a felony of the 3rd degree of tampering with evidence. 3 years of community control was his punishment. But now, Big K. Lee was a convicted felon, the kind not allowed to be in possession of firearms. So if you do the math, 2015 plus 3 years of probation, that puts him to 2018, at which time Keontae was popped for a felony of the 3rd degree, improper handling of firearms. I'm sure it wasn't his, but, well, he popped off some rounds into either a building or school zone, and this time we hand it to the judge, Karen Phipps. She gave him 2 years in jail. Remember, 2018, the wokeness hadn't settled in yet. But wait, it gets better. In 2024, after turning over a new leaf, getting a second chance, old Keontae Lee, well, he found himself in a pickle. I don't know the details, but basically he gets in a shootout with probably another upstanding citizen, and the other guy dies. There's some discrepancy over what bullets actually killed the guy, but again, Keontae has a firearm as a felon and is involved in criminal activity that is terrorizing the community. Think about it. A man died while Keontae was in the commission of a crime. He wasn't on patrol. He wasn't trying to protect society. As a matter of fact, he was the evil we try to stomp out. Keontae ends up getting charged with the following out of this incident: aggravated murder, a felony of the 1st degree with a firearm specification. Murder, felony of the 1st degree with a firearm specification. 2 counts of attempted murder, F1, again with firearm specifications, and also charged with weapons under a disability because, of course, he was a felon. That's a felony of the 3rd degree at this crime level. But Lady Luck rests firmly upon his shoulders because in this upside-down, right is wrong, screwed-up world of Franklin County justice, well, he ended up pleading to the following: an F3, reckless homicide, and 2 counts of attempted felonious assault. Both felonies of the 3rd degree, guys. These are felonies, violent felonies, after a life of crime and other violent felonies. Now, again, I don't know the particulars of the case. I don't know the details, but what I know is that Keontae Lee, this punk-ass thug, now a convicted felon, over and over and over again, should have received more than 5 years of flipping community control while our officer sits in a prison cell for the rest of his life. Something stinks in Franklin County, and it's time we start cleaning up this stench. Or I guess better yet, just move. OnTarget is next.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is OnTarget, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is OnTarget. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to OnTarget. I'm broadcasting. We are broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm Eric, along with my good friends JC and Ed, sitting here today. How are you guys?
Good. I'm real good. Good.
Yeah,
crazy story there.
Crazy story, and I've always said it. My openings aren't set out there to change the world. It's when it really gets frustrating for me on something, and I'm like, I got to write this down. And believe it or not, and most of the time that epiphany occurs sometimes early in the week. I'm like, you know what, this doesn't sound right. Well, this one, I was putting together the show and this morning, and I started to go over the details. I'm like, this son of a gun. I said, this is not right. And so this one, the reason probably because it wasn't all polished today, I sat down at 10:30 and wrote it. I mean, I was so aggravated. There's nothing, I'm sure there's details to these cases that you don't know. And the prosecutors might say, we need to plea this down because we don't have, all the facts. But, geez, guys.
No, just look at his past history. I mean, good grief. I mean, the fact that judges can go, I've
past history alone should have been enough to put him away.
Yeah.
Especially this last time. Well, guys, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active in law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training, tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you facts. Get that, guys, facts about the industry and help with safe, responsible ownership of firearms for customers and our listeners. Today on the show, well, first of all, I got to update a couple things. JC, I don't know if I sent this to you or not. A couple weeks ago, we had Stephen Gutowski from The Reload on.
Yeah,
I'm working out. I don't know if I sent this to you, Ed. No. I'm working out on Wednesday night. And CNN, I had a show on, and they were showing a CNN interview with Stephen on it.
Steve Gutowski,
yeah, I guess his being here on our show propelled him to that next level.
Worked pretty well for Hickok 45.
Yes,
too.
yeah.
It's on our show once, and next thing you know, he has almost 8 million followers.
So yes, exactly. The other good thing, and this is super cool news, our good friend Luis, who was on a couple weeks ago, we knew at that time his wife was a week or so away from becoming a citizen. He sent me a text last night. She is a U.S. citizen, which is super cool.
So congratulations. That is great news. Good news.
Yep. So, guys, for today, JC's going to get us started on some news, and we're going to get to the gun of the week, sponsored by Jackson Egress Windows. A couple of things out there we talked about them before, super cool, and they kind of play into some sales we're going on now, so you're not going to want to miss that. That's coming up here shortly. Let's see. 12:30, and actually I think it's going to be before then because I saw him walk in.
Yep, he's here.
Here shortly, our good friend Lieutenant Brian Steele is going to come sit with us, tell us about some of the progress he's making here in Franklin County on some of these cases and fighting for officers, and with a little luck, and I warned him, I gave him a little heads up, but at 12:45 we might open up the phone lines, something we haven't done for about 100 shows.
Yeah, I would say
so you could call in, ask about suppressors, ask how Ed keeps his girly figure, or ask Lieutenant Steele about stuff going on here in the city. All of those are fair game, Ed, right?
Hey, everything's fair game.
Yeah, yep.
You can't stand the heat in the kitchen, get the hell out.
There you go. That voice you heard is our good friend Big Ed. Ed, as I said before, if you can't be cute, have a cute puppy.
That's
and today,
right.
you dog.
And I intend to introduce him to all the Facebook fans.
Wow.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I do.
Okay, perfect.
What a handsome dog.
Yes, that is. Makes up for a lot of...
Makes up for me.
Yes. Speaking of making up for you, I had the opportunity to work with your son this week in the streets again. I'm convinced... I don't think he's yours.
Yeah, he's mine.
Yeah.
Trust me, he's mine.
Yeah, good kid. Good kid.
Great.
Yeah, I always enjoy working with him and stuff. We always have a good time out there. And JC to my left, always good to see you.
Good to be seen.
So, JC, what else we got? Oh, we got to thank our sponsors, of course, U.S. Law Shield, Jackson Egress Windows, Blackwing Shooting Center, Rivers Edge Cutlery, and, of course, LAPD Training Facility, all who make the show possible each week. The podcast, if you missed the show, if you want to go out there and listen to a segment that you want to hear over again, super easy to go to, 6NWTVN. It's on Spreaker, iTunes, any place you get your podcast. We're out there, just OnTarget Radio Show, and it will be out there. JC, I hear you got some news.
Yeah, I've got some news. First of all, I have to do a correction from last week that was just from information that was out there that wasn't accurate. Last week we talked about an unfortunate incident where a SIG, actually it was the M18, which is the same thing as the P320, ended up going off and killing an airman at our Air Force base out there, which the report, when it first came out, and again I did this late on Friday night, and I reported on Saturday morning, said that it was a female airman, but it was not. And I just think this the man's name needs to get out there. His name was Braden Levan. He was 21 years old, and that was his first assignment. And if you recall the story, he took off his holstered M18, put it down on a table, according to the report, and after he did that, it discharged, shot him in the chest, and he was killed. So we like to get correct information out there. So this I'm going to get this down. This is amazing what is now happening day after day. All right, so on Wednesday, SIG rejected the P320 safety concerns Matter of fact, it even says that ICE re-upped its contract as a national, but as they, at the same time, a national competition bans the gun's use. This stuff is all going around right just this week. So again, Wednesday on the 30th, they released a statement saying that this rash of reports that military units and police training facilities and private competition and training programs have temporarily barred people, and they said, no, we're doubling down. This gun is safe, and that is what they said. And of course, this came after the after that incident where the airman was shot in the chest and killed with his own pistol. But that was on Wednesday. On Thursday, the International Defensive Pistol Association, the IDPA, which is one of the absolute largest sporting governing bodies in the United States, they have now barred, after their SIG statement, they have barred the SIG P320 from any of its shooting competitions. And the president, the organization, Joyce Wilson, just said, look, banning a particular firearm is the last thing we ever want to do, but safety of our members and potential spectators comes first. And they ban the 320. So, and we talked about where the SIG said, hey, Immigration and Customs, ICE, there were rumors that they have barred the 320, and we want to say that, SIG has extended their P320 contract. And hold that thought just for a couple of minutes. All right, but at the same time, on Monday, July 28th, a Houston police officer who SIG P320 spontaneously discharged while he was directing traffic on Martin Luther King Day on January 20th is suing SIG for $10 million. Officer Richard Fernandez, who's a 35-year veteran of the Houston Police Force, working traffic, parked his patrol car, exited his vehicle. He was walking towards his partner's patrol car when he heard a muffled pop, looked down and saw a hole in his pant leg, and then saw blood gushing from his ankle. And according to the witnesses, and that he'd never touched his holstered weapon. He was just walking across, and it discharged. So he has a suit. This one really baffles me. I don't know what was going on here, but a jury, and this was on the 31st, so this is, again, just a couple of days ago, on the 31st, a jury found that the SIG P320 was defectively designed. Okay, and this was in a Cambridge, New Hampshire police lawsuit. So a Cambridge police officer and his legal team, they convinced a federal jury that the SIG P320 was defectively designed and caused injury when it unintentionally discharged on duty, but he won't receive a penny in damages in this case. Now, so who are attorneys out there? There's some strange cases out there, and this would be one of them. So the officer, Jacques Durossier, won't receive any actual compensatory or punitive damages after the jury sided with SIG. Now get this, that the officer, and the quote is, he voluntarily and unreasonably used the P3220 knowing that it was defective and dangerous. That's crazy. This is in the jury's report. He voluntarily used it knowing it was defective and dangerous, and that's what the verdict form came out, which was really kind of a surprise. But the attorney says, well, at least now this is the third straight time that a jury has found the P320 defectively designed and whose defects caused the officer's injury. They're not giving him anything for that. And they said, and all the witnesses, it was secured to his belt. He was walking towards the police station for entrance in October of 2019. At no time did he touch the trigger. He was just walking across. Unfortunately, the bullet impacted his scrotum, then his left inner thigh, and exited through his right knee, causing a devastating injury. But they didn't do anything. But guess what? So the Cambridge, Massachusetts Police Department said that they had already had 4 unintended discharges after they switched to the 320, and the department no longer uses the 320. And you remember ICE, what I just mentioned, where they were doing that? Well, guess what? An ICE officer also on the 31st filed a lawsuit against SIG, and it was kicked out before, but a U.S. appeals lawsuit, the judge just said nope. this looks legitimate because the gun went off accidentally during training, and the judge said that the previous judge who threw it out, they said that he did not allow testimony about possible design flaws, and it should have been admitted. So this ICE officer is now filing a $10 million suit.
Wow. Things continue to pile up with the SIG P320. Guys, let's jump to a break. On the other side, we're going to get to a little bit more news, a little bit of guns of the week, and coming up shortly after that, Lieutenant Brian Steele will join us. We're on target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
There's something happening.
I'll do this one just really quick where they said now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I said, I think that really stands for several incidental gunshots.
That's good. I figured that is good. Yeah. Do you have, so there's not a ton of news after that, right? After all that, I mean, just, okay, so I'll
just show you. So
yep.
North Carolina, the Senate overrided the government.
Okay, yep.
California background check, they said, hey,
it's still out there, yep.
Drag it on. Ninth Circuit Court agrees to hear an en banc request for this permit to purchase. But this one, so Massachusetts, they just heard what California's doing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We want to have mandated micro-stamping. Then there's the next line, which I thought you would...
Oh, yeah, the next line, too. That's a good one. There he is.
How are you, sir?
Back from Pelotonia. Hello. Man, you're not out of breath or nothing. You didn't do crap, did you?
I supervised.
All right, how's it sound there?
Wonderful.
Hey, real quick, now we are on Facebook and stuff, so don't say anything bad about your family or, Perry Township and stuff like that. But I pulled, what we talked about last night. Mm-hmm. This was the sentencing thing for the gentleman. We'll talk about this at 12:30. But he was charged with what?
But he didn't plead to the what?
He didn't plead to the what? So was that a prosecutor's error?
It had to have been a prosecutor. That's the next question.
Yeah. I mean, what the heck?
Everybody's pointing fingers. Prosecutor pointing fingers at judges, judges pointing fingers at prosecutors.
We did an opening on it. I did. It just sounds. It just doesn't sound. I mean, and I didn't mention the judge and stuff, but it's just. I mean, come on, guys. So there you have it. So how was Pelotonia? Nice weather out there?
Good, no problems. Got everybody out of the city. Now it's someone else's responsibility. Get
them to the fair. Yeah. I just got a text that they're looking for guys at the fair still.
Oh, I bet.
They were. I did it on Tuesday.
How was it?
It wasn't bad. I will have to give. I know we're probably tight on time here. I will have to give kudos to one of the new recruits who just got off coaching, like Friday, got off coaching, and Tuesday she's in the intersection with us. Did awesome.
Good.
Awesome. Matter of fact,
3 seconds.
Good.
Your VC6 first warning weather for today. Sun and clouds, high of 79. Tonight, mostly clear skies. Is going to be nice, low of 59. For Sunday, mostly sunny skies, back up to 83. Currently 72 degrees on your severe weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Columbus's place to talk. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Ed, this is your theme song.
Can't take it anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just can't.
Have you watched that video recently? I know you probably haven't because it's probably from the 90s. It's a pretty intense.
Which one? This one?
Yeah. Kind of cool.
I haven't seen it recently, but I've seen it.
Guys, welcome back to OnTarget. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. I got Big Ed to my right. I got JC, and a good friend of ours just popped on set. Lieutenant Brian Steele, FOP President. Good to see you.
Good to see you, gentlemen. It's good to see the audience gets bigger and bigger every time I come.
Yeah. You know what? And I did. You don't have any sweat on you for being a Pelotonia. I'm impressed.
Yeah, very, very good supervisor. Doing my thing.
There you go. Perfect. Well, we'll get to Brian and some of that stuff here shortly. But JC, two other quick things of news.
Yeah, this one story. So we just talked about all these lawsuits. SIG saying safe, and everyone is dropping them, and at least a lot of people are. So that they said, hey, two can play at this game. So this week, SIG sued the Washington State Police Academy over their P320 pistol ban. So the training academy for the state trains all their state police officers also banned it. And so SIG said, it's time to fight back. We're going to sue. So it was pretty crazy. 6 Sauer versus that training commission, Washington State Training Commission. They're seeking to have the ban reversed, claiming it's unnecessary and not well grounded in fact. But a county judge, just as a matter of fact, it was on Friday, denied a petition for the gun manufacturer to reverse the ban of it, saying that they had the right to do that. But Sig also asked the court to muzzle the Academy's executive director for speaking publicly about the ban and why they were doing it. And he went, nah. So anyway, Sig tried,
crazy.
But
crazy.
Pretty
Hey,
crazy.
one other thing too, JC, that I saw out there. I don't know if you picked up on this, but England, our friends over the pond there, they've pretty much ban knives because because that's the enemy of everything. And so this week, actually August 1st, yesterday, was the official ban on ninja swords. So they've had an amnesty period. You could trade in your sword, and I guess they've had a spike in stabbings here these last couple of years. Go figure.
Beheadings.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Now in other news, up in Michigan, JC, kind of
this is I get my prescriptions when I'm up there.
Right.
This is my Walmart, and I think if you've been following, because it was all over the national news, it's a gentleman that they knew had issues. As a matter of fact, they were trying to see him the day before and get in contact with the guy. Went in and right in the checkout line, pulled out a buck, a 110 Fulton Hunter. I happen to have one of those, and opened it up and started slashing people. And the unfortunate thing, I mean, there were 11 people, but I think 7 or 8 are still in critical condition that are in the hospital. Half men, half women, just about. And what was it had stopped him? A good guy with a gun. Finally,
look at that.
Of course, this is Michigan. They don't want to really talk about it, but they did. They said no. That the citizen with a firearm finally
he didn't actually discharge his weapon.
No. He had him at bay. So no one wants to get shot with anything. So he held him at bay until the police arrived. And they got there. They said within 3 minutes. But as we always say, when seconds count, the police are minutes away at best. So but anyway, there it is. Good guy.
Guys, let's jump to the bottom of the hour break, and after the news, we're going to get to our good friend Lieutenant Brian Steele, FOP, Lies number 9 President, talk about the state of our city and much, much more. We're on OnTarget, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
Didn't we?
Do you own or manage a small business here in Columbus?
Well, it's
one guy went long.
It's an ebb and flow, Ed.
Ebb and flow.
Ebb and flow.
I've met both of them, ebb and flow, and neither one of them go long.
I'm going to put this up there so we don't get...
Yeah. Flo's kind of cute, though, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Flo is cute.
Brian, I'm showing you your next guy. I'm showing Brian his next gun. We got to keep it off of Facebook because they shut us down if they handle a gun.
If you handle it, you can't see it.
But this is what you need for those days when you're in like your short shorts and a t-shirt walking the dog.
You see me in my short shorts and t-shirt.
That's a real thing. I know.
It's even got a thong holster for you. So
yes, little 380 holds. I think that's in the configuration of 12 plus 1.
Oh wow!
Oh, that and that little tiny.
Wow. But look at his meat hooks there. So he's got some. Yeah,
but that's okay. I mean that has a decent feel to it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's buying it.
Oh. I'll start working on the way.
I probably will.
I got one.
You did?
I got one.
Yeah.
They're very popular. A lot of stores are.
I don't have the ported
I don't
barrel one.
Yeah. There's one that's non-ported and it's a hair shorter. A little bit cheaper too. So
it's nice.
It's funny, as I talked to you before, this is what SIG's having, and I said, you ever hear about Glock, Smith & Wesson, HK, Springfield Armory, and any of these other companies that have firearms being used, and by agencies, police departments. You don't hear anything about that.
And it's like I said at the beginning when this first came out, I would have thought they would have offered some kind of a recall just to save their name and say that they are, pro safety and make sure that this isn't going to happen again. But they keep denying what's happening, and they've got so many cases of it. And then you get the jury you were just talking about that doesn't award the guy anything, which is ridiculous.
That's just insane.
But prior to that, they said that the gun was put together fault.
It was defective.
It was defectively put
designed.
together. And my thought there is where the hell does a jury get the common sense and the brains to make that decision? Are they all gun manufacturers now? I mean, even if a prosecutor or a defense attorney was preaching to them as to how the gun was defective from the start, still doesn't make them experts to make that decision.
Well, the defense attorney, when I looked at it, he represents the company that represents hundreds of people who have had accidental discharges with the SIG P320. It's hundreds that are out there.
I just don't understand why SIG doesn't come forward and say, all right, this is enough. I'm taking them all back. I'll credit you, or you can get whatever you want, just to save their name. But no, they're going to fight this to the end, and they're going to hurt themselves.
The United States military,
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Chosen and all these agencies, so
they can make it right. Firearms Range and Training Facility. This is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios. I got Big Ed to my right. I got JC, and I got our good friend, Lieutenant Brian Steele. Good to see you, Brian.
Good to see you. Good to see everybody.
I know.
I love coming in.
Beautiful. I'm just appreciative that you're in here with how beautiful it is out there.
Yeah,
you know?
Always time for you guys.
All right, I appreciate it. Well, Brian, I wanted to have you back in here because you always not only have the pulse on what's going on in the city with law enforcement and the judicial system, but you do so much more than just standing out there and calling out some of the issues, but you kind of get to the solutions. And so I wanted to go over a couple things. This week was a tough week with Officer Coy and the sentencing, and then right on the heels of that, you hear about this Keontae Lee, and you're saying, what the heck is going on with our judicial system? Any progress on your side? Are you seeing anything? Are you making headway with these judges?
Yeah, so not every judge is the same. I don't paint them all with a broad brush, but I've said this before. I won't take a kneel in darkness. I always light a candle in dialogue. And I talked about this judge the other day, and I was really I did not like how it went down. This is a great attorney, Jack Wong, very outstanding attorney, a great prosecutor. And then Judge Isaac Page, I've known him for a long time too, and I didn't understand what was going on. So after I did a news story talking about how this community control, which is nothing more than probation, it just seems to be out of control. And it happened the day after we took a dedicated police officer. We didn't give him a sweetheart deal. We sent him to prison for life. Now this individual, we gave this community control. So I sat down and talked to her. Had a great conversation with Judge Page. At the end of the day, I didn't agree with her decision-making, but the fact that she would sit down, come to the FOP and talk to me, always give credit where credit's due. I'd like to sit down with every common pleas judge. The ones that tell me to pound sand, and some may, well, they're going to be on one side. The other ones are going to sit down and talk to us. I'll treat them a little bit different.
How did she justify her ruling on this?
She talked about how nobody was able to actually put the gun in his hand during the trial. The fact that he did not plead to the WUD. If he would have pled to the WUD, it would have been an automatic sentence she would have gave him. Since he didn't, and there was no evidence that he actually had a gun in his hand, and maybe that was just maybe the prosecutor's got to do a little better job. I don't know. But that's how she came to her decision. Even so, I didn't buy it. Right? I still think he's a recidive, repeat offender, and obviously if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Right. I mean, in his case, even if he didn't plead to the weapons under a disability, being a convicted felon in possession of firearms, he still pled to reckless homicide. I mean, at what point did it get to where felonies, it used to be, and Brian, I know your younger years in law enforcement as well, you can probably agree to this. If someone got a felony, they were going to jail for some period of time. It might be 6 months, but if you caught a felony,
you're doing time.
You were doing time. Yeah. That is not, we're not just talking F5s, we're talking F3s and stuff on community control.
Yeah, when I came on, if you remember, we used to do future indictments. If you were caught illegally with a weapon, we would do a future indictment. About 15 years ago, the courts decided that this was such an egregious offense, having a gun, when you're prohibited having a gun, using it in a crime, there was no more future indictments, were mandatory slates, and there was 10 days held. You were being held to arraignment. You weren't bonding out. But I don't know what changed. Did the politics change? What changed in the last 15 years? Then all of a sudden, you have second, third, fourth repeat offenders with illegal weapons, often stolen. Often you were never supposed to have one. You're prohibited. And you're kicked again with sweetheart deals. Now, the judge made a good point. She said, look, I put a lot of people in prison, and nobody ever talks about that. True. I said, you're right. As the FOP, I made the joke. Nobody calls me every day to tell me thanks for our pay raise and my teeth cleaning. You know, we usually get the complaint phone calls. So I want to give her a little bit of grace, but on my radar. I mean, these judges are on my radar by name now, and I'm just continuing to look at them. There's a bigger problem than I imagined. There's a problem with bail. I thought it was going to be one or two judges that are giving low bail. It's almost every single judge in this county who's giving obnoxiously low bail and letting people walk. At the end of the day, I told this judge, and I'll tell any judge, you don't have to answer to me. You have to answer to the community, the ones that are voting you in. So we need to have people wake up.
And we know that it's not, they can't rest on the laurels that, oh, this is an ORC thing, we're bound, because you look at just North and Delaware County, it's a completely different story. So there is a philosophical difference or something going on here in Franklin County that we voted into these people, and that is causing this to happen.
The judge and I, she educated me on that. I said, well, you go to a Raymond court, you get a felony, you go to municipal court first, and maybe the municipal court judge gives a $1 million bond, and then it gets dismissed and sent over to common pleas, and a judge might give a $100,000 bond. So which judge is not fulfilling their oath, their duties? One of them has to be, right? Or one has to be failing.
Wow. I had a scenario that falls right into play with this. We had a subject got picked up in Columbus on 4 warrants, no bond, and he went, I can't think of the judge's name, I've been racking my brain, but he went in front of the common pleas judge in Franklin County, and the judge gave him a bond and told him to report to Morrow County, and of course he did not. So I tracked down who it was, the judge, and I asked him, and I very respectfully, I actually spoke to his aide first, and I said, I'm just calling because I wanted to get educated as to how a judge will release somebody with a bond when the warrant is specified no bond. And they were 4 felony charges of possession and selling. And she said, well, I don't know. She goes, let you talk to the judge. And I could hear her in the background telling the judge why I was calling. And he picked up the phone. He goes, let me tell you something. He said, everybody has the right to have a bond. He goes, unless it's murder. And he cited off some code. And then he said, unless your common pleas judge signed off on the warrant, I will give bonds. I said, well, it's a warrant. And the judge did sign off on it. And he hung up on me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And just recently I got another notification. The guy was picked up again by Whitehall, and he's sitting in Franklin County Jail again.
It's just crazy. We're talking to Lieutenant Brian Steele, FOP president. Brian, we talked about this kind of offline a couple of times. There's a city in Michigan, and I need to probably look up what it is. And that city, it's a much smaller city than the city of Columbus. That city puts out there on their Facebook page every time they charge someone, I think, with a felony, and then what the judge does. Does the judge give them bond? What's the outcome of that? To start to highlight these judges, I think when the time comes when people are going to the voting booth, they don't remember these specific cases. And Judge Brown or people we've given grief to, they don't remember all these things. Is there any repository of cases where come election time we can say, hey, look, remember this, and this with this judge?
So you've heard me talk a million times. I believe in transparency. Every public official, whether you're a police officer, you're a judge, we work for the public at the end of the day. I don't think anything should not be laid out the table for them to see. I have, at least for the last 5 years, every bond from every municipal court judge, and I have every single request from city attorney Zach Klein's office asking for a high bond of $500,000 on a DV that involves a weapon, a felony DV, strangulation, and how many times the judge allowed that. I could tell you out of probably 500 requests, there's only been a handful where the judges honored that. So I'm putting this all together into one big package, and I'm just going to data dump it for the public. Hey, just take a look. Wonderful. Not calling them out, not saying you're right or wrong, just take a look. And if you like it, vote for them. If you don't, find someone else.
Yep. And we talked about too offline. There was another, it kind of added to all the craziness this week. The lady's name, and I don't have her name in front of me here. She's the one who got charged with helping the Mifflin shooter. I mean, she's helping dress him up and get wigs and stuff like that. She gets charged and ends up pleading to an F3 tampering. Again, a felony. I mean, a felony should, serve some type of time, but she gets community control.
Her name is Caitlin Melton, Caitlin with a K, and the judge is Carl Levini, and I already plan on reaching out to Carl Levini, the Honorable Carl Levini, and Judge Jiza Page offered, said, hey, if you need any help, any resources, sit down with the judges, let me know, and I'm going to take her up. Again, I want to know, Judge, how do we have such a high-profile case, someone who hit someone, who shot at the police, shot a police officer, and after you hit him, shot at more police officers? How do you just now release that person?
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at that. What's the punishment for the thug who's stealing from Marshalls down the street? Yeah. If I'm a criminal in Franklin County, I'm good to go. Yeah. I mean, I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. I mean, when this is being handed out for felonies, I'm certainly not going to catch anything bad.
It's a smack in the face to every cop and every citizen.
Something else happened this week. I think it was this week or the prior. I don't know if you can talk about it or not. I think our good friend CPD Officer Spencer, I think his arbitration stuff came up. I don't know if
So the FOP supports Spencer Badger 100%. We did not think that was adjustable termination. And you've heard me talk. If an officer is terminated, I don't cover bad cops. If an officer is terminated unjustly, which I personally and professionally feel he was, we're going to fight for you 100%. I'll dump every resource of the union into it. And we had our arbitration, and I think we did very, very well, very, very favorable, and I would not doubt for him to be getting his job back soon.
Wow, great. Good. We'll watch for that. The one last thing too, and just I know I keep adding on to this, but and I don't know the specifics of this, but this just goes to show you the process in Franklin County right now, in the mindset and how these grand juries can be swayed. I was talking to an officer in Central Ohio who was involved in an officer-involved shooting a few years back, and he said his incident was such that the suspect was actively stabbing other officers. Caught on body cam. I mean, this is pretty cut and dry. It doesn't get much more cut and dry. So invariably, it goes to the grand jury like it does in Franklin County, and because the suspect died out of this case. And he says, he ended up not getting indicted. He says what was very scary is that 2 people on that grand jury voted to indict him for murder out of that.
That's right. I know at least one of the jurors had a problem with the SWAT team making entry into the house. You have someone in there, a mental health challenge, someone with a possible hostage, someone with a knife. What are you supposed to do? We're the police. We just leave you. We say, okay, just do what you got to do. Call us tomorrow. At some point, you have to be the police, and you have to go in to get this person, if nothing else, to get this person the help they need if it's a mental health crisis. Right. And they just didn't understand that.
Right, but that I don't know if that falls back on the prosecutor presenting it to the grand jury. Are they swayed? Does this go back to what we talked about in the monologue, where we're going out there and we're punishing officers who succumb to the temptation to shoot people? Is that what we're seeing? Because then you bring that to the grand jury. Now this officer, man, they want to hem up a cop. And, I don't know. I don't know if the jury instructions there aren't such. I don't know, but there's something that's just not right with that.
Without a doubt, and there's something that's not right with the Coit case.
Yep. Guys, let's jump. You have anything, JC?
No, I'm just I'm appalled by what our judges are doing in this county. It's just horrible.
Brian, if you don't mind, on the other side of the break here, I was going to open up the phone lines. We haven't done it in about 100 shows, so I'm not sure how it's going to be. But
I love it.
If you want to call in, if you want to ask a question for Lieutenant Brian Steele on any of the stuff that he deals with, him and his officers daily. If you got a question for JC on suppressors, whatever you want. If you want to know how Ed keeps his physique, whatever the question is, 614-821-9886 is the number, and you can start calling. We're going to jump to a break right now, and on the other side, we'll take your calls. We're OnTarget, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
Info on.
We'll probably get no calls.
Well, if you can get Ed to hold his puppy up to the camera.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of people will call going, hey,
you wake him up.
Well, tell your wife. She's the one that's controlling him. She has community control over him.
But you're so absolutely right. When it comes time for voting, we even sit there and go, good grief, I don't know the records of it's not printed. Unless you're keeping a log, we know that there are just some horrible judges as far as releasing criminals back into the streets who've done horrible crimes now. And but we don't know that.
And I mean, for Judge Page reach out. I mean, that's good. You know, we reached out to Senator Craig. Now, do you know him at all?
Yeah. No problem.
He was supposed to come on the show a couple of times because he had some proposals for gun stuff.
Yep.
And initially, definitely, appreciate it. And now they must find. And I told him up front. I said, we'll be courteous, we'll be polite. We just want to have a good conversation. And then, of course, nothing.
Yeah, well, it says a lot. I remember had Chief Bryan in here.
Exactly.
I remember you asked some tough questions, and it shows a lot for her to show up.
Pictures of Franklin County.
Yeah, always respect that. Again, might disagree with some things, but always respect.
It has to start with that conversation.
Yep.
You're gonna find common ground.
Always.
And just like when you put me in touch with one of the city council guys, he was a decent guy.
Yep.
We found a lot of common ground.
Manuel Remy.
Yeah.
Pictures of.
ABC 6 first warning weather for today: sun and clouds, high of 79. Tonight, mostly clear skies. It's going to be beautiful, low of 59. For Sunday, mostly sunny skies. Once again, high of 83. Currently 72 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Today's guests and callers are heard on the LegacyRetirementGroup.com phone lines on News Radio 610 WTVN.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios. I got a full crew today. We got JC to the left, Big Ed to the right, and our good friend Lieutenant Brian Steele sitting in between all of us. Thanks so much for coming out again.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me as always.
As we said, going into the break, we're going to open up the phone line, something we don't get a chance to do very often. So if you have a question for anyone here, give us a call, 614-821-9886. In the meantime, JC, there is some guns of the week that we should be talking about, because we said it last week, and it's going to continue next week. But, of course, sales tax holiday is going on. Brian, I don't know if you know this, but it's the sales tax holiday right now. So for 2 weeks, from August 1st to the 14th, there is no sales tax in Ohio for any tangible item under $500.
Under $500.
Yeah. So it used to only apply to school supplies. Now it applies to sporting goods as well. So you can, in theory, come and purchase a firearm, ammunition, whatever, as long as it's under $500, no sales tax.
I did not know that.
Now let me sweeten the kitty for you.
Yeah.
During this 2 week period, we have I pulled it this morning, 180 used guns here. 100 of those are under $500. We are giving 10% off those used guns for this time period. So you not only get 10% off the used firearm, but no sales tax. I mean, you almost have to do it.
8%,
yeah. How do you keep the lights on in here?
I know.
That was outstanding.
Yeah. So having said that, JC, one of the firearms we want to talk about today, we've mentioned it before. They were police trays that came in, Smith & Wesson 45s with a duty holster and a mag pouch. Okay. Three mags. These are 2.0s. These were never fired. Never fired.
New.
They are, after the deal, they are $500. No sales tax.
$499.
$499.99 and no sales tax. So definitely want to come in.
So 10% off of that, and then you don't pay any sales tax on it.
There you go.
Look at what you save, and they're new.
Yep.
And they're just wonderful firearms.
JC, let's jump to the line. It looks like we have Dana on. You're on with On Target. How are you doing?
Good morning, you guys, or afternoon, should I say. What I was wondering to know, you were talking about those judges that hung up on you when you were talking to them. Why don't the police organize, spread word, go and demonstrate in front of their house, and run these slime balls out of office?
Because we'd end up going to jail.
Yeah. No, Dana, but you're exactly...
No, well, not if you... How are you going to... If you do it orderly and let people know what you're doing and how they're putting other people's lives in danger by letting these slime balls out on the street, they would right out of office.
Yep. Dana, you're exactly right.
I'm sick of these type of people who, their moral highs have got their head in the clouds. And like, you don't matter like the person who hung up on you. They really need to be tarred and feathered.
I agree.
Dana, thanks for the call. You know what? We've talked about that. You know, I've often said, when's our day to protest? But the problem is we all have jobs. I don't know how you do. I mean,
we would get crucified. We would get crucified. Maybe we as law enforcement officers doing something like that. They would say that is unprofessional, and our administration would probably penalize us some way with suspension, all the way up to possible termination. And Brian, I bet you're going to agree with me on that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's your fundamental right to protest, but we definitely, as peace officers, active police officers, we have to really be careful. But duly noted. Thank you for your suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's jump to Mary. Mary, you're on with OnTarget. How are you?
Hi. This week I heard Mayor Ginther make a statement in response to J.D. Vance about Columbus's crime numbers. The homicide numbers are the lowest in 12 years, and I think it was felonious assaults down in lowest numbers in 12 years. I wondered if you had any additional inputs on that, or if those numbers seem to be accurate, or possibly I'm also hearing reports of carjackings that aren't getting filed by the police because they know that the judges aren't going to prosecute them or whatever. So I wondered if you had any extra information on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Great question. I could tell you last night we had 3 individuals shot, 2 were juveniles. So if you ask them, is crime going up and down, I think they disagree it's going down. But here's the deal with crime statistics. They go up and down. They ebb and flow. But if we go from 150 murders to 130 murders and we celebrate, I use the analogy, that's like telling my wife, I cheated on you 50 times last year, but only 40 this year. So let's go out and have a party. The fact of the matter is violence is double it is now than what it was a decade ago. So it's going to ebb and flow. We're still not out of the woods. We still have per capita and a terrible homicide rate and a terrible felonious assault rate.
And Brian, and to your point too, I think it is down nationwide. So which I cringe. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, you note that. I mean, we used to talk about the Chicago stats. Well, they're down too. That's not a bad thing, guys. But what I hate to see is that the mayor will get up there and say, due to my policies, crime's down, when I don't know that's the case.
His policies are a joke.
And I always, when they say it's down, I say, great, what did we do? Because you have to explain to me. And if you're going to take credit for them dropping, you better take credit for them rising. But nobody wants to do that.
You're 100% right. And it just doesn't feel, I mean, statistically speaking, and, the murders might be down, great. But it just doesn't, this juvenile crime stuff that's going on, it just seems to continue. So we'll see. We have someone else new on the set there. Ed, you know what? This is worth you coming in now. Ed, if you're watching out there on Facebook, let's put it on there.
Hey, buddy.
Ed, that is, oh, my word. He's like you.
Yeah, he's a sleepy guy.
Yep. This is Diesel?
Yes, Diesel. Diesel Smoke is his middle name.
Diesel Smoke is...
It's because your wife spoiled him so much.
Yes, look at that.
Yes.
And, I think he's irritated.
We were lab down 3 weeks ago, and I didn't think I was going to get another one, but I just couldn't go without the attention and the love from him. They're great dogs.
So apparently this wasn't a scam. I know you had run across a couple.
No, this one was not. This was not. I did run across one. It was a Fox Red lab. Silvers and reds are not very common, but that one turned out to be a scam, unfortunately. But I'm very happy with this one here.
Yeah. All right. You're invited back.
All right. Good.
You're invited back as long as you bring the puppy now.
I think I get your wife to puppy sit for me too.
Oh yeah, well, that goes without saying. JC, other guns of the week here that we have on the counter stuff. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380 that we fell in love with recently. Yeah. They just came out with a performance center now. Has a compensated barrel, a little bit longer than the last one, but still super sleek.
It is one of the hottest 380 on the market right now. It's Smith & Wesson just hit a home run with this. A lot of the dealers are saying they're selling out everything that they have. It's super lightweight, super small, super thin. Yeah, holds like 12 plus 1, 380. So it's an incredible gun, and this one I like that, the Performance Center one. Just that little extra compensator on there keeps that leveled up. It's a great firearm. So
for the record, Brian, if your wife happens to be listening, you are not buying one, right?
That's right.
Okay. You're gonna buy a puppy though, right?
She wants one of
those. The last gun of the week that we wanted to talk about too. First time we've seen this one. It's been out for a year, and I'm going to butcher the model. I think it's the HK CC9,
and that's the first one I've said. Just walked by the table and I went, "Hey, what's that?" I'm so used to seeing some of the others, but it's the HK CC9. So it's there. Compact concealed carry of firearm, and actually that one has a red dot on it.
Yep.
HKs, out there. They're they're a little bit more expensive than some of the others, but that's what you get when you get a really quality.
And it's here, and it's for sale. Guys, stop in and see us. Still 10% off all used firearms for at least another 10 days or so. Thanks to everyone who's been listening. Thanks to Lieutenant Brian Steele for jumping. Always good to see you, Brian. And guys, as always, enjoy the weather and let's be careful out there.
Good. Whoa, what's all that, huh?
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Save 610 WTVN Columbus on your presets. Free. Never sounded so good.
The Girlfriends is back with a new season, and this time I'm telling you the story of Kelly Harnett. Kelly spent over a decade in prison for a murder she says she didn't commit. As she fought for her freedom, she taught herself the law.
Doesn't need to get to the range, be a little accurate.
Jailhouse lawyer.
And became a beacon of hope for the women locked up alongside her.
I think I was put here to save souls by getting people out of prison.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search The Girlfriends Jailhouse Lawyer, and listen now.
This is Greg Trzynski from the Original Mattress Factory. Let's talk real savings. Our mattresses can save you several $100s compared to similar models from other retailers. And from August 1st to August 14th, the Ohio Sales Tax Holiday can save you even more on items up to $500 each. Imagine getting superior quality for significantly less, then adding tax savings on top. If you need a new mattress for back to school or home upgrades, now's the time. Visit one of our stores today and sleep better tonight. OriginalMattress.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-822-1365. That's 800-822-1365.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025.
Hey, stay awake during this or what?
I actually
10% off used firearms with no sales tax, and the gun of the week is sponsored by River's Edge Cutlery. Tune in
Central Ohio. Music 610
noon from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
HD2 Asheville, an iHeartRadio station.
Tune in today at noon or live from LAPD Studios.